So you're thinking about moving to Jacksonville, Florida, and you have little ones, right? And you have to understand something. I believe the children are our future. We're going to talk about some of the best reasons to raise a family here in Jacksonville, Florida, right now in this video. Let's go! Dr. Adrian Gentry, aka Dr. Real Estate Jax. For those who've been here before, you know what we're going to say. It hasn't changed. Get up, get your own water, your family now. For those who are just coming on for the first time, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification as we try to talk about all things Jax. Where to eat, where to live, and where to play. And we're getting back on it, guys. 2 videos every week. It was a long winter. Well, we don't really have winter in Jax, but we're getting a lot of things done, trying to streamline some systems so we can better serve you. For those who don't know me, hey, I'm a real estate agent right here, Northeast Florida area. Love to serve you, buying, selling, relocating, PCSing. We're here for you. So I'm going to put my number somewhere in here. Like, we're the guys who pick up the phone, answer the text messages, answer the emails, myself, my assistant. We're going to get you right. So, in this video, it's going to be a real quick one, right? I just want to tell you about the essence of Jacksonville, Florida, and why you should bring your children here, why people believe it's a great place to live, right? To raise children, raise a family. Right now, we're in Orange Park. We're sitting in a park. It's the sun is going down. The ambiance is right. And you see the little kids in the back playing and galloping and screaming. And some of them, I want to push down and be honest, they're loud. But other ones, they're beautiful, right? They almost can be Gerber babies. So we're going to talk about them in this video. Let me let you take a look around Jacksonville. We're going to get right to it. Checking Jacksonville out just a little bit. Guys, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know one thing about me and how I feel about Jacksonville. I'm not a native of Jacksonville. I hated Jacksonville, but you know what? It's funny. Like, this is a place I'm actually looking for 5 to 10 acres to build me a house. I can see myself retiring here. And we get a lot of calls from young families that are coming to Jacksonville, Florida. We get them from all across the world. Japan, Germany, Hawaii, United States. We've gotten calls from every city, every state in America at this point. But one thing people always want to know is, what is there to do for kids, right? Is it kid friendly? Are there activities for kids? So we're going to go into it real quick. And number one, it's easy on budget, right? So we get a lot of comments and people are like, oh, but it's not as cheap anymore. Understand this. Inflation is hitting every city across the country, but Jacksonville still remains lower, right? Lower nationally, lower by state, and I'm talking about 8% lower when we're looking at a state average, and we're like 7% lower when we're looking at the national average. I tell people this all the time. When it comes to major cities in Florida, Jacksonville is still low. And so if you have children, they're expensive. I have 2, a boy, a girl, in my pockets. I do this because I love people, but I also do this to feed my children because they can be expensive. We're talking about private schools. We're talking about sports. We're talking about this thing called food. That's $7 for eggs. They're expensive. So when you're looking at a city to raise a child in, I'm definitely looking at something that's lower than national average because, quite frankly, all of us want to save money, and we think about these things in every move that we make. How much is it going to cost? What kind of house am I going to be able to get? Where am I going to be able to live? And this is still a place where we're still lower than the national average. We're still lower than the state average. We're going to do an update video about the cost of living in Jacksonville and tell you just where we're at when we're talking about utilities, when we're talking about housing. But as of right now, just get this, it's lower than the national average and it's lower than the state average. And I know they steal your money. They do me that way. I'm still paying for stuff that I think they were born with. But just understand, we're lower than the national average. Number 2, great school system. All right, so there's some pluses and there's some minuses about any city that you go to. There's some great schools and there's some schools that you wouldn't send your pet chihuahua to. But Jacksonville, a lot of people don't understand this. We have a lot of nationally ranked schools, not just for the state, not just for the city. We have a lot of national schools, and there's plenty of great schools. We have Chet's Elementary, we have, Linden College Prep, we have Paxson, we have John Stockton, and they all have perfect ratings as a top 10 school. First, let me tell you this. If you're looking for school statistics, please go to greatschools.org. I'm gonna put it somewhere in here, right? And then we did another video on it. I'm gonna wait a little bit so that other one can get past right here. All right, there it is. I'm going to put that for the video we've done for some of the great schools in Jacksonville. And one thing that people don't understand about Jacksonville, if you're living in Duval County, we have this thing called school of choice, right? So you can actually pick the school that you want your child to go to as long as you can get your children there. Most cases, the buses run there. You just have to get to the main school and the bus will go to that school, or sometimes you got to drive them all across town. So a lot of times when people are calling and say, hey, Adrian, I want a great school. I can't always get you in a great school district. Depending on price of the home, what you're looking for, how close you in proximity to the beach, we can't always get you into a great school. But school of choice is a fantastic thing that a lot of our customers begin to utilize. They're sending your kids to magnet schools like, what's that one school? Douglas Anderson. I think it's like Juilliard, right? People are playing the violin, people are dancing. Fantastic school when you're talking about the arts. Duval District is a choice district, meaning families have that opportunity where they can choose any school as long as it's zoned for Duval, right? Another school district I like to talk about while we're talking about Jacksonville, we have to talk about Orange Park. Many of the schools out there, we're talking about anywhere from 7 to 10 schools. We're talking about pricing, looking around 300, averaging about 300, 320 for homes out there. So that's another school district that you may want to check out. We have Yulee right above that. So it's a lot of different areas that you can still get to downtown really fast, and they may have great school districts, but also utilizing school choice is something that most people do if they do not have a school in their area that they really enjoy their children going to, nor would they send their chihuahua. Number 3, great weather. Listen, you hear me talk about it all the time, all the videos, that weather is one of those things that I absolutely love in Jacksonville, Florida, because guess what? We have so many days of sunshine. It's crazy, right? And another thing I want to tell you guys, kick them kids out the house, man. They don't need to be on that video game all day long, right? Like, get them out, make them drink out the water faucet like we had to when we were kids. Put them kids out. They don't need to be sitting around talking in an adult's face. That's what my mama used to always listen, talking in an adult face. Well, but it's almost like endless summer here. We really have 2 weeks to maybe a month worth of super cold weather any other time. You're talking about great weather in Jacksonville, Florida, and we do get thunderstorms in the summer, but that's just to cool us off. That's Jesus telling us, here's an olive branch, because we're burning up, right? And it rains for 10, 15 minutes, but it's definitely weather that you can enjoy. And the funny thing about it is we get a lot of customers that are moving here from, let's say, up north where it's very cold, and their doctors are actually telling them, listen, you may want to go to a warmer climate, just because they moved out of Jacksonville. I've had people talk about, their joints are not aching anymore, different skin issues that they were having when they were up north, they're not having down here in Jacksonville. So one thing I want you to do, let's remember this always. Kick them kids out the house. Let them get outside, get off the video games. I'm tired of TV. Roku? No. Go outside, play, ride your bike, skin your knee, drink out that water faucet, because that's what really needs to happen when we're talking about great weather and kids these days. They don't need to be on TikTok. Great weather would be number 3. Number 4, parks, and more parks. Jacksonville has the largest urban park system in the entire country, right? And if you'd have seen me earlier, we're sitting here in Orange Park, kids behind us, you see them running around. I was gonna be like, get on the floor, little kid, stop screaming. But I didn't. That's not what I do. I don't just beat up random kids. That's how you go to jail. But being so many parks in Jacksonville, Florida, you want to get those kids out the house. You wanted them to burn some energy, and trust me, you're going to want to do that. I think we shot a video and we showed you by the beach. We have skating parks, and I'll put some footage of that right there. With the skating parks, you have tennis courts, you have the regular things, the seesaws. We don't have those metal slides anymore that used to burn our skin off like it was like it was the devil's fork. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. But we do have a lot of parks, and there's so much activity going on in these parks. Majority of the time, they're throwing festivals for children's birthday parties. As we pulled up in here today, it was maybe 3 or 4 birthday parties going on at one time. I'm a big advocate. Let me help you out, guys. I'm a big advocate for getting kids out of the house. I'm a big advocate for letting them run, roam, and scrape their knees and not scream in my house. But parks are one of those reasons that you want to be able to bring your kids down here, because they will have activities to do. They're not just stuck in a place like Seattle that's dreary most of the time. They're not stuck in a place where it's constantly snowing like New York, right? You get up there, it's freezing. Nobody wants to go outside in New York in the wintertime. Kind of think that's why some of them are angry. But if you're looking for, a great place to raise a family, you love parks, you love going out, flying kites, number four would definitely be parks, and more parks. And number 5. All right, so I guess all of it was kind of leading up to this. So the activities in Jacksonville. So here we go. We're going to go down the list of them, and I don't know if I'm going to run them or not because it's a lot of things to possibly do. So there's always something to do. We're talking about festivals, right? So I wanted to put Riverside Craft Beer Festival, but I don't think that really pertains to children. But I will talk about the World of Nations. I will talk about the Shrimp Festivals. I will talk about the Bouncy House Festival that they just passed. And I think they're starting to do that more and more ever since they removed the landing. There's always going to be something you're going to do with a festival when it comes to children. All right, we're going to talk about movies at the beach, moonlight. So people go out there, they put the seats out, they lay out the blankets, they picnic, and they watch movies in the park. Several of the neighborhoods actually run the same type movie nights. We're talking about Nocatee, we're talking about, I think they're doing it in Oakleaf as well, and E-Town. Oh, wait a minute, and Wilford Preserve. So there's several neighborhoods that actually have a movie night where people are sitting down out there relaxing, watching movies with the family, people running around, and I think that's absolutely amazing, getting us back to what it was when we were growing up, or when I was growing up, right? Like when we're looking at the 80s, 90s, I didn't grow up in those neighborhoods, but it seems nice when I see it in movies, and I think we need more interaction with people. So we have the Jag games, we have the zoo. I have a little footage from that I might put in here as well. I love the zoo, and I'm not afraid to say I go more than I should. I'm also not afraid to say my children don't go with me, because just something about being around animals, I've always loved them. So if your kids are into animals, definitely want to check out the zoo. Oh, not only that, they have the big cats. The Big Cat Park, something like that right there, where they actually feed the lions, the tigers on Friday nights. I may have some footage of that. It's in one of our videos of things to do in Jacksonville. I'll link that down here somewhere as well. Then you have beach light festivals. This one, these are just a couple of them, right? This is just a couple of things that I can actually name off. Museums, 17 different museums. We have the Mosh Museum, the Cummer Museum. We have Hands-On Children's Museum. You have a museum for just about everything. One of the things I loved growing up was something about history. It was just something that drew me in. So if you're looking for that, you're going to find in one of these museums. And a lot of these museums are based off of a side of town. So right now, Orange Park, if I go down the street, we have a museum for Orange Park. If we go to Durkeeville, it's a museum for Durkeeville. If we go to, where's another one at? If we go to Mandarin, there's museums for Mandarin, giving us the history of the town, and you can really take your children on a tour of museums and really help them to understand what goes on in the Duval County community. Like most of us, we live in the city, but we don't really understand the city. And with so many museums and so many different sides of towns, and the town being so big like it is, there's a lot to learn about this place. And I think it'd be very, very, very educational for your children. Also, beach, and beach. I did not curse. I'm talking about the water outside, the sand. I'm talking about running around. I'm talking about flying kites. I'm talking about digging, burying people in there. We have, I think 23 miles stretch of nothing but beach, and we have so many different beaches here in Jacksonville, Florida, from Huguenot to Jags Beach to Atlantic to Neptune to Ponte Vedra, and we're all talking about in Duval city limits. So if you're really looking at coming down here, I think if we talk about outside, if we talk about activities, because you're going to need to do something with them, if we're talking about school, if we're talking about money, because you're going to have to house and feed them until they're 18, and then, do whatever you will at that point. And we're talking about beaches and parks, and this is an amazing place, guys. I can honestly say, from someone who is not from here, when you move to a new town, you don't know how it's going to feel, right? And sometimes you're in the wrong mindset, and you're just frustrated, right? I think about my sister Janelle. She hated Jacksonville as well when she moved back. It's not her first time here, and now she's like, why am I seeing things so different, right? Like, why is this beautiful to me? I didn't know this existed. And that's how I feel about Jacksonville. I hated Jacksonville when I first moved down here, but I was going through a divorce, and guess what? I hated a lot of things at that point in time. But this is absolutely an amazing place, man, to raise your children. The school systems, getting into the right schools, getting your kids into the sports and activities that are going on here. Some neighborhoods are more fixated and focused on children than others. One of the things I love about, let's say, an Oak Leaf. Oak Leaf is all about, family. Like, you see kids riding bikes, and I've talked about that in other videos. If I look at Beach is so heavy on sports when it comes to Jacksonville. They're almost fanatical about it. We have all the sport teams you could possibly think of. A lot of people I know, a lot of my friends, they have children in cheer, and they're doing it nationally, not just right here in Jacksonville. So if you're looking for a great place to raise children, you have to look at Jacksonville. Want to give you a great resource, right? Go to, Fund for First Coast Kids. It's a community resource to tap into all the things that are going on in Jacksonville for children. You can kind of build a list. Build you a list up of things you can do with your children to keep them active. Like I said, I believe an advocate for kicking kids out of the house and making them go play. But if they can't, you can't kick them out because it's raining, go to a museum. If you can't kick them out because you're like, oh, I've been out all day, it's hot, and Jesus hasn't given us the rain for the day, you can always take them to go out and do something. So that's it. That's all I got for you. That's it. So it's the next video. Like, be great and choose excellence in everything you do.